Soundstripe.
Creeping, walking through the house. Uh-oh.
Soundstripe.
You don't know where he is. Every corner, you see a shadowy figure. He's there! Oh my gosh, he's there! Run! Run! Run for your life! Ah! Yes, come on, guys. I had to play some horror music for you because you know why? Halloween is right around the corner. Yes, Halloween. Definitely one of my favorite holidays. As a kid, I always dress up, and FYI, I still dress up as a grown up. You know, it's just what I do. It's just now, instead of dressing up as Batman, Superman, Spider Man, it's more of doing family dress ups. Like, for instance, this year, my family and I were dressed up as the Eminem family. And no, I'm not talking about the rapper Eminem. I'm actually talking about Eminem, you know, like the candies. Yeah, so we're dressed up as the Eminem family. So before we get started with the show, you guys got to do me one quick favor, okay? You got to hit that subscribe button before we continue. All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. All right, perfect. Now I want you to do me another little favor. I want you to hit that notification bell before we get started. I'll give you a few seconds. All right, perfect. Thank you guys for following those simple instructions. We really, really appreciate that. Now, before we kick off, welcome to episode 23 of Real Talk with Coach Q and
Broker West.
Yes. All right. Now, before we start with the show, we're going to do a quick introduction just in case you haven't come to our show before and you're like, who are these great looking men? Who are these guys? I got to know who they are. So let me do my first introduction. My name is Qierre McGlory. I'm a realtor. I get the opportunity to help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And I'm also a coach, which means I get to coach agents and help them build successful real estate careers. And I love what I do. I love helping people with their real estate needs, whether it's buying, selling, investing in real estate, handing over those keys to their brand new house, or when it comes to coaching, helping people overcome their fears and their fears and their doubts and helping them overcome those and become successful. Now I'm going to let Wes share and explain why do we call Wes Broker Wes. So Wes, tell the people what you do.
Hey everybody, this is Broker West. I am the money man, the mortgage wizard, the breaker of financial chains, and the bringer of rain. And I am, as it says in the title, I am a mortgage broker. So that means my job is to help people who want to finance properties and homes understand their options, set them up with the best lenders to provide those options, and overall educate them on the overall process and how to make mortgages and property work for their financial portfolio.
I love that. I love that. Yes. Now, we always want to talk about success tips, things that will help you be successful, because Wes and I are true believers when it comes to lifelong learning, you know, whether it's attending seminars, listening to audiobooks, reading books, right? Or listening to mentors, things of that nature, because we always truly feel that you can always get better and better each and every day. So, Wes, what would you like to share on the people today?
Yeah, so it's football season. The Packers played last night, pretty good game. And eventually we'll have a Super Bowl, which the Super Bowl trophy is named after Vince Lombardi.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Mr. Lombardi. Hey, yeah, absolutely. That's great. I love where this is already going. I already love where this is already going.
yeah, so one of my favorite speeches is the one it's called "You've Got to Pay the Price," and in that particular speech, as he's addressing the team, one of the things that I love the most, to stand out the most, that I think is most important to your success, he says, "Winning is a habit, and unfortunately, so is losing." So today the message is create and practice winning habits, right? Create and practice winning habits, because it's not about what you say, it's about what you do, but it's not about what you do in the moment where you're closing a deal or you're in the middle of a transaction. It's everything that goes into it before that. And the thing that most people fail to realize is, you know, Your success does not happen in one seminal moment. It happens day by day, the little things. And before you know it, if you have winning habits today and tomorrow, you string together months, years, weeks of winning habits, and eventually you win. That's just the way it works. And yeah, what was it? A couple days ago, the Lakers had a 26-point lead that they blew. 26-point lead that they blew to the young upstart Oklahoma Thunder. And they ended up losing that game. And the thing that you notice about sports in general, specifically football and basketball, where you have possessions, they didn't blow that 26-point lead on one play. There is no 26-point lead in basketball. It took play after play after play of making bad decisions, having bad outcomes, turnovers, not playing defense. That happened over and over and over again. They never stopped the bleeding. And eventually, all those losing habits over the final 2 quarters of the game ended up making them a losing team. So remember, practice winning habits daily, and it happens daily, not at the point where you're actually trying to accomplish the goal.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I mean, the thing is, obviously, you can apply, practicing those habits, in anything. Obviously, you use a sports analogy, but obviously you can do it in your everyday life. Now, part of what I do, part of what Wes does, obviously, we talk to people, right? And part of our job is to build relationships and build trust. So when people are thinking about real estate, they think of myself and they also think of Wes, right? So how do we do that? By practicing good habits. What's a good habit? By providing valuable information, right? Like, for instance, people that are on my email list, at least twice a month, they get an email from me, telling them about what's going on with the market. I keep them updated about what's going on in the market, as well as we do this podcast, this show, right? This is another way for us to provide value to let people know exactly what's going on with the market, because Wes and I look at ourselves as experts. And what do experts do? Experts inform people, they educate people, they empower people to make informed decisions. So take the quote of what Vince Lombardi said, and as Wes was able to break it down eloquently, practice good habits, practice good habits. All right. Now we move on to our next segment of the show, the main event. And this main event, I want to talk about the wealth tax, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about, and I'll let Wes talk about it. So the wealth tax. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, oh my gosh, it's the wealth tax. It's for billionaires, or people that are making over $400,000. Why should I care? I'm not in this ballpark. I'm not in this arena. I'm not wealthy. Why should I care? And before I get into it, I want to give you guys a breakdown, of what it would look like. Obviously, it hasn't passed yet, but this is what it would look like. So when it comes to this tax, they're talking about 50% minimum tax on corporate profits by large corporations, such as like Amazon and so forth, right? And adopt the 15% minimum global tax brokered by a surcharge rate on individual income above 10 million, right? That amount would rise another 3% on income above 25 million. And what they're saying, they're also going to tax people that are earning over $400,000 annually. And what they're saying is to pay their fair share, right? Because there's a lot of people that feel that, as wealthy people, they should be more obligated to pay their share because they make so much money. Now, the thing is, obviously, if this does pass and taxes are, increased on the wealthy, right? How could that affect us, right? Well, think about it. Jeff Bezos, right? CEO of Amazon. Is it a possibility that if his taxes increase, he can maybe go into the Amazon store, right? Or maybe go into like a Walmart or a Target or any of these stores that we go to frequently. Is it a possibility that they can charge more for their goods? Absolutely. And if you have been paying attention, you probably have noticed some of the items have been actually going up in prices. I think they're saying an average about 3 to 5% of increase from last year this year in terms of at these things, I don't want you guys to think that, oh, it doesn't affect me because I'm not in that tax bracket. You got to understand, if they're going to be taxed more, they're going to want to recoup that loss. And the way they recoup that loss is passing that buck off to the consumers, which is us. So I just want to share that tidbit with you. So Wes, when you see about the taxes, what do you think of? Like, what is your opinion? Like, how do you analyze it?
Yeah, so the thing that caught my attention specifically was the tax they're considering. It's not put in place yet on unrealized capital gains.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that would work basically is, let's say hypothetically, you have a stock portfolio, and that stock portfolio, initially you buy it and it's worth, say, $3 million, and then it goes up in value, hypothetical value, and now it's worth 5 million. Well, now you would be in a situation where you're paying taxes on that 2 million of unrealized gains. Now, of course, most people, the average person, doesn't have to worry about that. I think it's some crazy amount, like 10% of the people in the country own like 80% of the stocks or whatever. So, but there are questions that need to be answered and whatnot. Like, how would that affect, for instance, someone who has a 401k, and if their 401k portfolio goes up or whatever? What would happen, for instance, if the stock goes up, but then the stock goes back down, which is something that also happens? Or what if you have to sell assets to pay the taxes that are due for the stocks that go up? Now, right now, they're saying it's basically someone who has 1 billion or more in assets, or someone who's made $100 million in 3 consecutive years. So that's the target of it right now. And then, but you have to ask yourself, or some concerns are, okay, will they ever adjust that to like the standard homeowner? Because what happens if you own a home and you buy the home today for 400,000, a few years from now it's worth 500,000. Now you haven't done anything to cash in on that 100,000 equity, but it's just worth more. So those are questions that need to be asked and answered. Now, just so most people may not realize, but that is how your property taxes already kind of work. They do continue to reassess the value of your property. And even though you're not doing anything to take advantage of that value, your property taxes are being adjusted based on that assessed value. Now, that being said, as far as taxation and whatnot, there are a lot of loopholes, a lot of crazy loopholes that wealthy people take advantage of. And the issue is that they exist at all, and at some point you got to get to the point where obviously people pay their fair share and whatnot. And I understand, the price of goods are going to go up at some point as well, if that's what happens. That is that is the balance, and that is the offset. And I would just look at it like this. One of the things that we discuss often, not you and me specifically, but which gets discussed often in this country is, a lot of our labor being exported over to, countries where the minimum, the amount they get paid, the minimum wage, is a lot less than it is here. Now, that's great because we all get a lot of stuff for a lot cheaper, but there are a lot of people who lost their jobs, who are no longer able to find those jobs to pay good money, that, for instance, like the auto industry, right? The manufacturing industry. So the question is, I guess, like, as a wise man once told me, you can be right or you can be happy, but you can't be both. So which one you got to choose, right? So, we can collectively, I guess the question is, do we collectively all pay a little bit more for our goods so that financially everybody's doing a little bit better? Or, do we want to just be able to keep racing to the bottom, to get as cheap as we can on everything around us, because we know that there's going to be a fallout to that too in the labor market.
Yeah, very well put. Very well put. All right. Now we move on to the economic market update. So rates, real estate forecasts, rent surges, all these things we'll talk about. So Wes, let's start with the rent surges. What have you been seeing there?
Yeah, so the rents are continuing to go up. So you have something, it's kind of funny because they kind of have everybody boxed in right now, because we've often discussed the increase in home prices, how hard it is for some people to be able to find a home and get into escrow on a home, and for how for a lot of people, they're just priced out of the market. It's just not going to be affordable for them anymore. So now you take that, add in, the rent moratorium that we've had for the last, year and a half or whatever. So a lot of these landlords and whatnot and property owners may have been missing out on that income. So now you have people that, even if they wanted to get out of the rental market, can't afford to do it, and they have to keep renting. So now you're just kind of going to see those rental increases going up. And there are specific areas where they've seen the most kind of the most upward increase. The one that stuck out to me, one of the cities that's in California, is Riverside, right? Or Riverside County, which is, up 26.5%. The other cities of note, or metro areas as they call them, Miami, Vegas, and Phoenix. And some of these are not really like high cost areas. I mean, Vegas is not typically a high cost area. We all know it's, and Phoenix as well. I mean, even though it's Arizona, what you could buy there compared to what you could buy here, completely different. So I think we're going to continue to see the rent surge. Now, the question for all of us, specifically those who are still renting, and maybe even a question for those who are in the, the real estate industry, are we eventually going to see more rent control initiatives get put into, or rent control legislation get passed? Are we going to see more of that as, the rents continue to surge and the affordability? And we already know there's an increase in homelessness. So it's just this big roiling, toiling pot of, I don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like it could be trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And what have you been seeing on the interest rate side?
Yeah, so we knew that rates had gone up. And then over the last 2 weeks, we had like a little bit of honeymoon where we'd seen rates the lowest they'd been for quite some time. And then the rates went back up this week. They started inching back up this week. Now, a couple of reasons specifically for why they started inching back up. Number one, the European Central Bank. So they are still pretty optimistic on the outlook on the recovery from the pandemic. So that was number one. And then also the United States Treasury had a bond auction the other day, and it was not met with a lot of enthusiasm. So couple that with people still knowing that inflation is happening, and at some point the Fed's going to have to do something to basically stymie it. But in the near future of this week, those two items are the reason why we saw rates start ticking back up again.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when it comes to the real estate forecast, everything that I've been seeing, no one's anticipating any type of drop in terms of home prices, right? No one is seeing that. And it still comes down to the limited inventory we're having. We still have less sellers on the market, right? We still have less sellers on the market. We still have more buyer demand. Interest rates are still low. So, I mean, the thing is, when it comes to the first quarter, they're still thinking that we're going to have a very strong market. We're still going to see home prices increase. Now, we may not see home prices increase as we have seen since 2020, 2021, but they're averaging about a 3 to 5% home appreciation between now and 2022, right? And that's all throughout the country. So obviously there are going to be places where it's going to be higher, and there may be places that it's going to be less. But if you're a buyer out there and you're really thinking that, I'm going to wait this out, don't. Because if you can afford to buy a house now, do it. Because if home prices go up a little bit more, all of a sudden that 4-bedroom, you go down to a 3. Interest rates go up, all of a sudden that 4-bedroom goes down to a 3. So if you're in a situation that you can actually buy now, buy now. Buy now, buy now, buy now.
Couldn't agree more.
All right. Now we move on to the West Files, one of my favorite segments of the show. So, West Files. Know the down and distance. Know the down and distance.
Know the down and distance. So this is the portion where, for those of you who have not been with us before, I take my own personal experiences with my own clients, either going through the pre-approval process or the home buying process. And there are certain lessons and mistakes that are made there. And we can draw on those lessons and share them with you so you can kind of avoid them yourself. So recently I was in the process of assisting a client who purchased a few investment properties out in the state of Texas. Now, a lot of people in California, we've all heard the stories. Hey, you should buy in Texas. It's a lot cheaper. It's more affordable there. You can get more bang for your buck. Now, in this particular case, he decided to buy a few different investment properties, which is great. Now, one of the reasons that a lot of us buy investment properties is not so much just because we can collect the rent, but ultimately at some point, we expect that the equity will increase and we get to take advantage of that. Now, in assisting with this refinance, we came across something called the Homesteaders Act or homestead legislation. Now, what that is basically is it's legislation that doesn't allow you to take cash out on more than one property in the state of Texas at a time, if it's an investment property. Now, this is a less restrictive version of the law, which used to be if you wanted to take cash out of an investment property in Texas, you actually had to live in Texas. So when we talk about knowing the down and distance, because we all have this, we hear a lot of these shows, we watch a lot of these shows on people who are buying, investment properties or renovating properties. Oh, that sounds cool. It's a good idea to make money, whatever. And the whole point of this is do your research beforehand. Know everything or as much as there is to know, as much as you can know about where you're purchasing your particular investment properties, because this is important information to have. Because I can think of nothing less maddening being a homeowner and someone who's owned investment properties. You cannot access the equity in your own property because of a state law. Imagine that. How crazy would that be? So you want to know as much as you can, because what looks really simple when you're watching this stuff play out on TV, even the reality TV, it's scripted television. And what I mean by that is what you're seeing may be real, but they're presenting particular, scenarios that were favorable, right? So when you watch a show like House Hunters, for instance, which we've discussed before, and the person goes around and they look at 3 houses and they pick one at the end, and the house they always pick, they always get their offer accepted, and then they just move into the house. My guess is that for every one of the people on the show that successfully purchased a house, there's probably a good number of people who are on the show that never completed the process because they never got an offer accepted, right? And then not only that, but within the 3 properties that they show you while you're looking at the show, you don't know how many properties they looked at and submitted offers on, right? They just plucked the 3 that worked out, they just plucked 3 out of the total, and one of them they got the offer accepted on and ended up buying, and that's the 30-minute show that you watch. But you need to understand that that's television. And in the real world, we have laws, we have regulations, and every state or every city or every county is not doing everything the same. So you need to understand and make sure before you decide to buy an investment property, you understand fully what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Now we move on to the City Spotlight. City Spotlight. All right. Now, City Spotlight we are doing today is the beautiful city of Costa Mesa. So I'm going to give you the numbers, and Wes is going to tell you fun stuff to do in Costa Mesa. So City of Costa Mesa was incorporated in 1953. Currently, right now, there's about 64 homes available for sale, which is actually a little higher than what we've seen, in most cities in Orange County. Average days of market is about 27 days, meaning that a home comes on the market and then it eventually goes into escrow. It takes about 27 days. The average, the median income in the city of Costa Mesa is about $89,000, and 89,000, yeah. So average median income is about $89,000. All right, and Wes, what's some fun stuff that you do in the city of Costa Mesa?
Yeah, well, they have an annual fish fry. Can't go wrong with that. They have concerts in the park. One event that I find a way to make it to every year is the fair, the Orange County Fair. They have the Orange County Marathon. They have the Snoopy House Holiday Special, which I did attend last year and I will be attending this year. It's really cool. It used to be before pre-pandemic, you can go there. They have like the snow set up, the snowmaker, and your kids can sled and you can do the ice skating and all that. Last year, what they did is they basically set up a bunch of, light Christmas tree light displays. Really cool, a lot of different shapes. Took a while to get through. There's a lot to look at. So that's what they're doing right now. I did that last year. We're going to do it again this year as a family. They have the Relay for Life. And then, of course, if you know the fairgrounds, there's always something going on at the fairgrounds, all kinds of events, all kinds of expos and whatnot. And then there are, if you like the nightlife, Triangle Square, which is on the border there, you can always go over there, have dinner. There's clubs. I actually used to bounce at a club there for a couple years. That's right. That's right. Bouncing people.
Bouncing people. Well, you're like 6'9", so yeah. If anyone can bounce people, Wes, it's definitely you for sure. So, just saying.
Correct.
Yes, yeah. So if you guys have any other questions about Costa Mesa, if you're looking to buy, sell, invest in Costa Mesa, you can definitely feel free to reach out to us. So once again, let's give it up for the city of Costa Mesa. All right, now we move on to our final segment of the show, in the news. So, baseball, World Series, anyone? So, Wes, what do you want to talk about when it comes to the World Series?
Oh, nothing. The series is tied 1-1 right now. I know the Astros cheated last time they won a World Series. That wasn't under the current manager and the current coaching staff. And I've always been a big fan of Dusty Baker. And hey, if I wasn't an Angels fan, I would have been rooting for them to lose that first World Series that they ended up losing to the Angels. So he's always led his teams to the World Series. He's always gotten the best out of his players. I'd really like to see him finally win a World Series. Like I said, great manager. By the way, a lot of people don't know this. He was really good friends with Hank Aaron, and Hank Aaron was a mentor to him. So series is tied 1-1 right now, and I'm hoping they win. The Braves have won enough, man. They won enough.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens. All right. And also, I want to share with you guys, California just set a record for the highest home sold in California. $177 million. This home was actually located in the city of Malibu, and it was actually a venture capitalist that purchased this home for $177 million. Now, the realtor, his name is Kurt Rappaport with West Side Agency. He represented both sides. Wes, he represented both sides. So not only does he know a mega millionaire seller, he knows a mega $177 million. Now, the highest sale in the history of the country was actually in 2018. It was actually a penthouse in New York City. It sold for $219 million. Wow. I mean, wow. Just saying. So Wes, when you hear these numbers, like what comes to your mind, man?
It's crazy. I mean, because remember, Jeff Bezos just purchased a home here for $165 million a couple of years ago.
For how much?
165 million.
Yes, yeah, See, he was he was a previous highest home sold
Right.
in California. This one just beat it. Yes.
Right. So the crazy part about to me is, I watch a lot of real estate shows and whatnot. One of them is $1 Million Listing, LA. And last week I was watching the episode, and they've got this home in Bel Air up in the hills that's on the market for $8 million. $8 million. And it's a gorgeous home, 2,200 square foot master suite, pool, deck, lounge area, beautiful view, everything you could ever want in a home, and it's sold for $8 million. So in my mind, I'm thinking, and I understand real estate is location. I get it. But what is in $177 million? Because I saw that $8 million home, and I'm like, that is more than I could ever hope or dream about. I mean, this home had they had the movie studio in the house. They had the game room with the pool table. I mean, it had a couple kitchens. Gorgeous home. Gorgeous home. They had a walk-in closet bigger than most people's apartments. And I saw that for $8 million in Bel Air. Okay. This isn't an $8 million home, you know what I mean, in the middle of North Dakota. This is Bel Air, Fresh Prince, right? And I'm thinking, what could be in $177 million home? What do you get for that? What do you get for that? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And where are we headed?
I mean, I haven't seen any pictures of the inside of the property, just around the exterior of it, but not pictures of the inside of the property. Maybe someday the new buyer will show us what the inside looks like. But yeah, man, 177 million. So that's the record right now for the highest home sold in California is 177 million. But I have a feeling, as this market continues, I have a feeling we may surpass that. In the next couple of years. I mean, it's definitely possible. So
we will. Like I said, it only took a couple of years to surpass Jeff Bezos. So yeah, definitely will. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
Oh, we forgot one segment though.
Yes.
Hot topics.
All right. Hot topics. Yes. So one-stop shop for the future, right? A lot of people, a lot of consumers, some of the things they're saying is that, hey, you're the realtor. I want a lender. Do you have a contractor? Do you have home insurance? Do you have title? Right? They're looking for all these things. Now, Robert Rifkin, he's the CEO of Compass, and he was talking about how he wants to make Compass the Amazon of real estate, right? Because with Amazon, anything you want, you can order on Amazon, right? You just click of a button, boom, you got it. So what Robert Rifkin wants to do, he wants to make Compass, at the Amazon of real estate. Now, a couple years ago, I think it was actually last year, his company went public. I think they raised like over $600 million. And what he did is he took that money to invest in like technology, innovation, all those things, because he truly feels, obviously, if you want to be the Amazon of real estate, technologies definitely have to be your game, right? Because Amazon's all about that. So his thing is that he wants to make Compass like obviously the Amazon of real estate, but really make it a seamless transaction. You got your realtor, you got your lender, you got your title, you got your escrow, you got your homeowner's insurance. So that's exactly what he's looking to do. And there's other real brokerages out there that are doing things like that as well. Let's say, for instance, Better Real Estate, right? They have Better Mortgage, which is their mortgage company. They have Better Real Estate, which is their real estate company. They have Better Title, which is their title, Better Home Insurance, Better Secure, and so forth, right? So this is definitely something that we're seeing, in the market, right? And obviously there are still standalone traditional brokerages that may not be doing all those things, but we'll definitely see what happens in the future. So Wes, what do you see when you see these one-stop shops with this philosophy ideology?
Well, it's kind of funny because one of the things that I think I would say most people who are fans of capitalism, one of the things that is good, or we anticipate to be good, is the open market. The ability to go out and shop amongst different vendors, and the ability to pit those vendors up against one another to get a better, deal for ourselves. So I don't know if that's really the direction that people want to go in or will go in, because as you have more of those people, like one of the things that frustrates me, I do not like my cable company. I do not. But the problem is it's pretty much a monopoly. I mean, yeah, you can always do satellite, but if you don't want to do satellite, you just want to do cable, you have very limited options. Same thing with the cell phone companies. I've watched the cell phone companies. We had like the big five at one point, maybe big six. Now we're down to three, really, basically, major ones. And as I've watched that, I've watched the benefits from my particular cell phone company go away. So I that's fine if people want to try to, put together the one-stop shop. And some people will, find benefit in that, and some people will find convenience in that and definitely deal with that. But just as someone who's been in a lot of mortgage transactions or purchase transactions with different people, different moving pieces and whatnot, sometimes it's good to have somebody that's not associated with the other people, because they can put pressure and move people where they need to be moved. I'm in a transaction right now, nightmarish transaction. And I will remind you guys, because this is going to be a West Files coming up. Okay. And like I said, if they're all on the same team, I don't know if that's something specifically that you would want or that you would find benefit from, but we'll see. And I also expect at some point it may become a compliance issue. Right. But yeah, if he wants to, if he wants to put that together, and I know other companies are trying to put that together, and, have at it, go for it. I have nothing negative to say about, their goal and what they're trying to achieve. But lastly, I'll say this, because he compared it to Amazon. I saw when I read the article, he compared it to Amazon. And the thing is, Amazon, a lot of things you buy on Amazon don't require much thinking. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're not those big ticket items. And so, yeah, a lot of people go on Amazon and just buy, maybe clothes, maybe shoes, a lot of household items, whatever. I don't know if that's where I'm going to go to buy a car, and then I'm going to go there to buy a refrigerator, so I guess we'll see. The market will tell us. That's the great thing about the market. The market will dictate the terms, and they will let us know what is acceptable and what's likable and whatnot, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And I definitely feel that it comes down to trust, right? If you can build a trust with the client, then yeah, maybe that can be a way for you to parlay with them to using your shared services. But at the end of the day, I really think that it really does come down to trust and relationships, which is very important. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining us for episode 23 of Real Talk with Coach Q and
Broker West.
All right, guys, until next time, see you on the next episode.